Hi everyone, my name is Anna and I'll be your afternoon instructor for this lower body exercise class. So with that, just a few pointers before we start. I have in my hands 2 5-pound weights because I just find it's helpful. Any sort of big lower extremity exercises to just add a little bit of resistance. Also with that, we're going to get started with our warm-up. So here we go. We're just going to start off by skipping in place. You can just pretend like you're jumping an imaginary jump rope just to get that blood flowing and that heart rate up a little bit and kind of warm up those muscles. Make sure you're engaging your core, keeping that posture nice and tall, shoulders back, core engaged. Awesome, you guys. All right, for our first exercise, we're going to start with feet hip width apart. And for this one, I'm going to take my weights. You always have the option to have like different variations of weights or just no weights at all. But I'm going to place them up here on my shoulders just to kind of have them support there and not move around too much. Taking my feet hip width apart, we're going to sit back into a squat like we're sitting in a chair, making sure to get a nice 90-degree angle bend in those knees. If for whatever reason you're a little tight today or have any joint or knee issues, feel free to just take it to that 45-degree angle. Also, you'll notice I'm trying to keep my back nice and straight, shoulders open, and also engaging that core. Great. And also what I like to think about when I'm doing these exercises is usually a lot of times I'll see people kind of shift their knees inward. So as you squat down, make sure you're pressing those out towards your hips. Great. Also make sure your your knees aren't going over your toes. That would be kind of a icky alignment that we don't want because it can cause issues later down the road. Awesome, you guys. Couple more here. 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. And just for a little bit, couple bonus points, we can also do that same exercise, but this time up on our toes. So coming up onto our toes, staying nice and stable, and squatting down. This is going to engage a balancing aspect as well as working those calves a little bit. Awesome, you guys. And spring back up, make sure to squeeze those glutes. Good. Next, we're doing another variation of squats called sumo squats. So how these will work is taking your feet into a bit of a wider stance. Going to come and point our toes outward and then just squat down. Again, like we're sitting in that invisible chair. This is going to continue to warm up those quads and those glute muscles, but also those inner thigh muscles that can kind of get neglected. Sometimes it's just easier to work the bigger muscles in your legs. So focusing on those inner thighs, those adductor muscles, is really key for a well-balanced exercise class. So we're going to do a couple here. Good, nice controlled movements. Again, keeping that posture good and engaged. Nice broad shoulders, shoulders back, engaged core. Good. Don't forget to breathe throughout the course of this exercise class. A lot of times people can kind of get caught up in holding their breath and so focused on working their muscles that they forget that your muscles need oxygen as they're working out. So it's important to keep a regular breath, focusing on that. Awesome. Couple more here. 2 and 1. Awesome. Next exercise is going to be some deadlifts. We're going to be working the back of our hamstrings. And we always want to make sure to have good, strong hamstrings. So that's going to help engage our glutes and keep for a nice overall strong center in that lower region. So as you can see from a side view, we're going to come kind of lean back in our heels. You should be able to kind of wiggle your toes, having a slight bend in those knees, coming down. Awesome. And you want to just kind of take your weights or your hands and just kind of skim them across the front of your legs. So down the quads, bending, and then down the calves. Good. Nice, slow, controlled movement going down. And then coming up kind of at a brisker pace. Make sure to squeeze those glutes so you get a full body workout and engaging all the muscles that we want to be engaging. And again, try and keep in mind to press those knees outwards so they're not caving in. And of course, we don't want those knees coming forward over our toes. Good. Keeping that back nice and straight. We don't want any cats or cows here, so I'm trying to keep my spine as neutral as possible. And by doing that, I'm going to engage my core as well as my back muscles, those erector spinae. That's why they usually love these kind of exercises, because it really does work a lot of those huge muscles that can kind of just get tight throughout the day or get neglected. So a couple more here. Good. Remember to keep that bend in those knees. And you should feel a burn in those hamstrings. Great. And done there. Shake out those legs. Next, we're going into some lunges. I always like to start with my non-dominant leg first, because I know that's a weaker side for me. So if I can start off my weaker side, and as I get more fatigued, and on my stronger side, I know I'll be more balanced and just feel more, balanced in both sides of my muscles. So taking my right leg back, left leg forward, we're gonna make sure we're nice and secure and coming down into a lunge, bringing our back knee straight to the ground. Again, we want to focus on that knee not shooting forward, but remaining behind the toes, making sure our knee is planted firmly over our ankle and keeping it that nice 90-degree bend. Again, if you're having any joint issues, any stiffness, feel free to take it closer to a 45-degree bend. Good. And keeping, as always, that posture good and strong and engaged. Engaging that core, make sure to kind of suck in those muscles and keep those shoulders back. Great, you guys. This is also going to be working our quads. I'm sure you can feel it. Also our glutes. A little bit of those hip flexors. You might be able to feel that. I know I can usually because I have really tight hips. So this exercise, so I was able to kind of strengthen them as well as loosen them up a bit. Awesome. And 2. And 1. Great. Now coming from a side view, I'm going to have my right leg forward, left leg straight back, dropping that knee. Great. This exercise can also be kind of challenging as far as balancing goes. I know sometimes I'll just be going for a lunge and like completely lose my balance. So if you need to stand by a wall or anything like a chair that's accessible, feel free to have that nearby, because I know some days you just don't have as good as balance as other days. Good. And as you can see, I have my weights just firmly by my side. Sitting here kind of helps balance me out too, just having that stability on each side. Good. Shoulders back. Really just powering through these. We want nice controlled movements. Sometimes I'll see people kind of just trying to get through them as fast as possible, but not really getting into that huge knee drop. But you want to see that back knee hitting the floor almost. Having a good focused bend is really going to activate all those muscles. Great. 3, 2, and 1. Awesome, you guys. All right, next, since we're in those back of the hamstrings earlier, only makes sense to get the back of the calves. So we're going to start just our normal calf raises, having our feet like hip width apart, and just coming straight from being flat-footed all the way onto the balls of our feet. Good, you guys. If you want to engage your upper arms, upper extremities a little bit. You can, as you come up, take that into a bicep curl, just to kind of be engaging more muscles. But again, this can also be kind of a balancing act, at least I've noticed in my own workouts. I'll just go up on my toes and kind of back down. I don't know if you guys noticed, but when we were doing the squats on our toes, that can be really hard because you're having less of a base to kind of center yourself on. So definitely includes a little bit of balancing here, but I know you guys are all capable, all strong individuals, killing it at home. Good, we're gonna do a couple more here, and then we're gonna work some more angles of our calves. So coming into penguin feet is what I like to call them, having our heels pointed inwards towards each other, toes outward, kind of like that sumo squat. We're gonna come up onto our toes, still working our calves, but just making sure we're getting all dimensions. As you can see, I still have my weights by my side. Just adds a little bit of spice to the exercise and a little extra weight. Of course, for these ones, they're not as necessary, but as you see, it kind of just helps for stabilization and all that. And since this exercise, we're just standing up straight, we really want to make sure that we're not, standing with our bellies out or butts to the back of the wall, but just kind of having that nice neutral spine. Good. Ooh, got the shaky legs a little bit. Our goal is to kind of burn out these muscles today and really get those strong leg muscles engaged. Great, because while I'm sure a lot of you are going on lots of walks throughout the park and stuff like that, since that's pretty accessible, we also want to make sure we incorporate that good strength training because it's just important for daily life and, carrying out daily activities, making sure we have nice, strong muscles that can help us just walk to the mailbox or get groceries or, any daily activities that are part of your routine. So I switched on us. This last exercise is our pigeon-toed calf raises, so pointing our toes inward now, really feeling that outer area of the calf. These are my personal favorite, just because, here, maybe you can see a little better, there we go. Just because that burn on the outside, I know, really can kind of flare up when I go on my runs and stuff, so having stronger muscles just in that calf area has really helped with my running and walks. I'm able to keep up with my mom now, which is always good news. She's a fast walker. But good. Engaging that core still, shoulders back. Nice, good posture. Great, you guys. All right. Check out those legs. We're going to take it to the ground now. Let me just check our time real quick. Great. You are doing so good. Good. We're going to come down onto tabletop position and work on our hips a little bit. So this next exercise is called fire hydrants. How I like to picture is like when a dog goes to pee on a fire hydrant. That lifting of the leg is really working their outer glute area, their abductor muscles. So we're going to do the same. But again, I'm starting with my left side, my weaker side, and just coming up and lowering down. Really squeezing up the top and lower down. Squeeze. Good. Awesome. Really get that leg, get that knee as high as you can. Having your shoulders hover above your wrists. That's the kind of positioning we want, and a nice flat back. Good. As always, you can still engage your core. Always keeping that activated. Great. You guys are doing great. I hope you're enjoying this workout, and I hope you're enjoying your day. Good. And up, hold, and down. All right, so now instead of just lifting, we're going to go up, up, down, up, up, down. Kind of get that pulsing movement in, really to make sure we're squeezing those abductor muscles, strengthening those hips. By far one of the most important muscles in your body. It's just right at your core. It's where a lot of your body weight sits. It's what helps your mobility. So it's important to just keep them strong. Especially as we age, it's easy to get in habits of sitting, or especially with COVID, I'm sure a lot of people are sitting a lot more, and it's easier to lose that hip strength that we may have gained in the past. That's why getting your steps in every day is so crucial as well. Good. And 2, 1, up, up. Good. All right. Bring on to the other end. Go for a different angle here. As you can see, wrists are right under the shoulders. We bring our right leg up and down. Starting again with just that up-down movement. Good. Really getting that knee high. I like to always think of getting my outer knee as far up to the ceiling as I can. That way I'm not as focused as like getting my foot up or getting a weird angle. We want to focus on that knee joint. Your foot's kind of just along for the ride. But if you can get that joint up as high as you can, that's really going to be lifting this entire limb and then honing in on those abductor muscles. Good. Whew. These definitely burn. Great job, you guys. Keep it up. Doing so good. I know I've kind of come back to this page and seen a lot of the other workout videos. And they're just so fun and encouraging. So I'm hoping you guys are enjoying this as much as we do. It's a lot of fun to make. I think we've worked around all the changes of this semester pretty well. So you guys are doing great. And up, up, down, up, up, down. Great. Really feel that burn, get that pulse in. Good. Our next exercise, we're going to be going into donkey kicks. So that's going to be working more of that major glute area, as well as some hamstrings. So bringing those legs back down, starting with your left side again, or I guess if you're left-handed, starting with your right side. But coming up, we're going to bring our leg, I'll face this way. We're going to bring our leg up and pulse up. Just make sure you have that foot flexed and you're shoving that heel to the ceiling. Good. Having those toes nice and pointed towards the back wall and getting that heel up to the sky. Good. And now we don't want to be coming all the way down. We're really focusing on kind of a pulse today. That way we're engaging our hamstrings throughout the entirety of it. If you want more hamstring focus, we can straighten that leg, keep that foot flexed towards the back wall. And again, bringing that heel up. Good. Toe taps the ground and immediately shoots back up. This is going to engage our hamstrings as well as our glutes. And again, you can always engage that core, keeping that nice neutral spine. Good. And bringing that back down, we are going to switch to our right leg. Humming up, bending that knee, starting off here, and then we'll progress the hamstring. If at any point you don't want to straighten the leg or add that added step, feel free to just keep it there. We will be doing one more set of donkey kicks, kind of a different variation after this. Straighten that leg. So I can show you another way to make it more challenging if you're looking for that. Keeping that heel up towards the ceiling, toe tap, and up. And usually by upping the resistance or the difficulty, what that's going to look like for donkey kicks is we're going to take our handheld weights that we had in the beginning and just tuck that between the knee and then use that bit of added resistance on those glutes. Great. 3, 2, and 1. Good. All right, so just taking one weight this time, we are going to tuck that into the knee if you would like. This is always optional, of course. And so this variation of donkey kick, called 45 degrees. So taking that knee not out like a fire hydrant, not straight out like a donkey kick, somewhere in the middle, angling that heel, and then pressing up as so. This is really going to work those kind of corner glute muscles. They're kind of tiny, but man, you really feel them burn with this exercise. So it's important to just get those muscles too. We don't want to neglect them. Good, keeping that back, that posture. Always into consideration. Hands under shoulders. I know throughout my workouts I'll usually have to kind of fact check my posture and my alignment, because as the exercise goes on, I get more tired, more fatigued, as we all do. So just constantly kind of checking, making sure you're in proper alignment is going to better benefit your muscles and avoid injury. Good. And keeping that heel up to the ceiling. 3, 2, and 1. Great job, you guys. And switching legs. Taking our weight again. Over to this other side. And we're going to have not back, not out, but somewhere in the middle. Good. Almost dropped the weight there. Great job, you guys. Ooh, working up a bit of a sweat today. Great. Try not to lift your head too much. Should have mentioned this before, but as you can see, I'm kind of like facing the screen, but what's best for your upper back and kind of your neck area is if you're in alignment with the rest of your spine and just keeping that head nice and neutral, which usually looks like you just staring at the ground, but not sagging your head, kind of lifting it, but just staring at the ground. Great. 3, 2, 1. Awesome, you guys. Taking this onto our backs, we're going to go into some glute bridges, which is great because it works our glutes and our hip flexors as well as our hamstrings, and we can do a couple exercises to focus more on the hammies. Again, feel free to take a weight. I always like to kind of just sit it here on the hip bones. So coming onto our backs, making sure our lower back is kind of tucked. We don't want any arched backs for any of these exercises, so keeping that nice and engaged. Having our weight sit here, feet kind of out, and then we're just going to engage our glutes, lifting them off the ground and lower, and up and lower. Awesome, you guys. You can have the weight or without. If you're without the weight, feel free to rest your hands here by your hip bones or just to the side of your body, kind of that is a stabling component. And we're just going to engage those glutes. Really feel that burn. Great, you guys. If you want to feel more of a burn in your hamstrings and work those a little more, you can take your feet so you'll be just on your heels, coming up, lifting off the ground, and then going from there. And the farther out your legs are, the more you'll feel it in your hamstrings. Great job, you guys. Couple more here. 2, and hold. Awesome. Getting that lower body fix in before we go into some core. All right, so coming back to a seated position, going to do some Russian twists. So resting your feet on the ground, going to lean back into your biting point is what I call it. So where you feel that tension and where you almost can't go any further back, really engaging that core, not arching your back, tucking those ribs. Coming back to that biting point, and we're going to take our hands side to side. This is another one of those exercises where you can easily just take a weight and shift it from side to side. Make sure you're really getting that full rotation in. How I've always heard it explained is kind of funny. You'll take a fish out of the fishbowl and scoop it into the lake, out of the bowl, into the lake. So really follow your gaze with your hands, making sure you're getting that full rotation, really working those obliques as well as that central core area. All right, for the last few Russian twists, I want you to lean back more, engaging that core even more. It's all warmed up now, so it should be able to kind of support you just a wee bit more. And 4, 3, 2, 1. Whoo! Give yourself a little refresh right there. Taking our hands back, our fingertips facing towards our feet, so facing towards this opposite wall. Gonna lean back, use that as a support. Lifting our feet up, we are going to straighten our legs, come back up. Straighten our legs, come back up. These are called rowboats. And really, it's gonna work our core in its entirety. I'm sure you can always already feel it burning. Oop, my knees just popped there. Good. If you want a bit of an extra challenge, feel free to take those hands up. And like you're rowing, I always just kind of follow my hands it that way. And even more so, can take a weight and just add to that difficulty level. Great job, you guys. Keep it up. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Coming onto our backs, we're going to go into a few toe touches here. So lowering back down again. Our feet are going to come up towards the ceiling. And this movement just acts as a crunch, but we're going to really reach and try and touch those toes. If you're not really feeling the whole leg lift today, or your hamstrings are tight, feel free to bring those feet to the ground, reaching up, touching those knees. This is a good exercise to remember to breathe. So push that air as you come up, in, out, in, out. Good, you guys. And don't come all the way back down, resting your head, but make sure to come up, lower. So it's a bunch of little half baby crunches. 3, 2, 1. Awesome, you guys. Okay, our next exercise, I don't know why I came back up. We're still staying on the ground. So we're going to take our hands, kind of tuck them under our tailbone. This just provides a little bit of cushion. Laying those legs out, keeping the core nice and engaged. We're going to lift our head, lift our legs, and flutter kick. Great. One thing to note about these is that the higher your legs come up, the easier it is. The lower they are to the ground, the more resistance you're going to have. And again, it's important to really kind of gauge those core muscles because we don't want our back to arch at all if your lower back is coming up off the ground. Feel free to set your feet down, kind of tuck that tailbone, and then get right back at it. Awesome, you guys. Keep it up. You're crushing it. And 3, 2, 1. Great. And our next core exercise is going to be dead bugs. I'm sure you guys have heard of this one before. Coming onto our back again, we're going to have our knees up, kind of at that 90-degree angle. We don't want to have our knees tucked in towards us, but kind of just hovering straight out. That's going to engage your core more. And then resting your hands here, you're going to take opposite arm, opposite leg, out, in. We're going to chill here for a little bit. If you want an extra challenge, you can take your weights, have one in each hand, but just be, when it's time for that arm to kind of extend outward, you can bring that one too. That's just going to add a little bit of an arm workout. But again, go at any pace. And if you don't have access to weights at home, you can usually replace them with a lot of different things, such as like soup cans, I feel like is a common, popular one. And another thing to note, if this is getting too tiring at any point, you can either just engage the legs, kind of like a little pedal, or set those down and just engage the arms. Either way, just continue to engage that core. Keep it nice and strong. Good, you guys. All right, bringing it back up, we're going to do a couple more outer leg exercises and then call it a day. We're just going to do 5 of each just to get that one added burst. But taking our outer leg, we're going to come up onto our hip, leaning on this inner hip. And we're going to lift that leg. I often like to do weights here. The further down the weight is, like the closer it is to your knee joint, the more difficult it is, the more resistance there will be. So 5 here, 2, 3, 4, 5. Awesome. Now, taking that outer leg, bringing it up, we're going to lift that inner leg. Might be hard to see with the camera, but this is going to work our adductor muscles, again, those inner thigh muscles. Great. 3, 4, 5. Switching over to even you out on the other side. Going to be able to see better over here. We're going to take that outer leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Taking it up, setting that weight down. Inner leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. Make sure that leg isn't touching the ground. And bring down. Our final bonus exercise before we wrap it up, do some stretching, is a plank hold. So this is just going to finish us off for the exercise, really engage that core as well as our shoulders and our glutes, and really engaging all that. So coming into a forearm plank, making sure we don't have any hills or valleys, nice neutral back, good, shoulders right above the elbows, and holding it for 3, 2, and 1. Awesome, you guys. Shaking out that core, shaking out those arms. We're going to do quick stretching. So extending those legs outward, reaching forward, feeling that burn in the hamstrings. Good. Tucking one leg in towards your hip, inner thigh area. We're going to stretch our right leg first. Coming up, you can kind of feel that side stretch. I know with all the sitting from online classes, my sides and these muscles, these like lower core areas have been getting really tight. So this stretch has been a godsend. Awesome. Yeah, that other leg and extending and then really stretching that side. Oh, it feels so good. Great, you guys. And if you incorporated a little bit of arm, upper body exercise, I know we all did with the plank, even with the deadlifts, we're just going to cross one arm over, stretch out. I can usually feel it here in that back of the arm area, in the upper back. Great. All right. Well, with that, our exercise class is done for today. Definitely take a few more minutes to loosen any other tight areas that you might have noticed throughout the exercise, and make sure to get those steps in. Hope you guys are doing great. Bye.